In 1966, a woman in Cleveland served a dessert that contained lime jello, cottage cheese, crushed pineapple, and miniature marshmallows suspended in a ring mold. Her guests asked for the recipe. Not politely, urgently. They needed to know how to make this. The dessert was not ironic. It was not a dare. It was genuinely considered elegant, sophisticated, and exactly what you served when you wanted to impress. Number 18 on this list combined mayonnaise, whipped cream, and canned fruit in ways that would make a modern person put down their fork. Number 9 required 24 hours of refrigeration and 4 separate layers that had to set in precise sequence. And number 1, the dessert that appeared at more dinner parties than any other, used an ingredient that food scientists now say should never have been combined with dairy, but somehow worked through pure chemistry and 1960s optimism. These desserts were not forgotten because they tasted bad. They were forgotten because the aesthetic that made them appealing, the shimmering, molded, artificially colored aesthetic of space-age optimism, became embarrassing. Hit subscribe because what you are about to learn is that the 1960s invented desserts that defied every rule of traditional baking, and some of them, against all odds, were actually delicious. Let us count down. Number 25. Tunnel of fudge cake. This was the cake that launched 1,000 bundt pans. In 1966, a home baker entered a recipe contest that required using a specific flour product. Her cake, baked in a bundt pan, emerged with a ring of fudgy center that never quite set, creating a tunnel of molten chocolate through the cake. The recipe won second place, and the publicity made bundt pans, which had been a specialty item, into standard equipment. Nordic Ware, the maker of the pans, could not keep up with demand. The pans cost $4.95 and were back-ordered for months. The cake itself required a full box of powdered sugar, a cup of butter, 6 eggs, and 2 cups of chopped walnuts. The fudge tunnel happened through chemistry. The sugar and the nuts created enough structure so the center could remain partially liquid without collapsing. The cake cost about $2.50 to make and served 12 people. It disappeared not because it stopped being good, but because by the 1980s, gooey centers seemed unfinished rather than intentional. The aesthetics shifted, and what had been desirable became a baking failure. The tunnel of fudge cake is being rediscovered now, 60 years later, by bakers who realized that what seemed like a mistake was actually innovation. Number 24. Crown Jewel dessert. This was Jell-O taken to its logical extreme. 4 different flavors of Jell-O were made separately and cut into cubes. The cubes were suspended in lemon Jell-O that had been mixed with Dream Whip. The result looked like stained glass, colored cubes floating in pale yellow. The dessert was served in a glass bowl or individual parfait glasses so the colors were visible. 4 boxes of Jell-O cost 32 cents. Dream Whip cost 29 cents. The entire dessert cost about 75 cents and served 12 people. The preparation took 2 days because each layer of Jell-O had to set before cutting, and the final assembly had to set again. Crown Jewel dessert appeared at every church potluck and women's club luncheon through the 1960s. It vanished in the 1970s when savory and sweet Jell-O salads became culturally obsolete. The death was so complete that by the 1980s, showing someone a photograph of Crown Jewel dessert produced disbelief that anyone had actually eaten this. But they had. And they had asked for seconds. Number 23. Pink Lady dessert. Crushed pineapple, miniature marshmallows, Cool Whip, and red maraschino cherries folded together and tinted pale pink with cherry juice. The mixture was refrigerated overnight. The result was sweet, fluffy, and aggressively pink. A can of crushed pineapple cost 19 cents. Miniature marshmallows were 35 cents. Cool Whip was 49 cents. The dessert cost about $1.20 and served 8 people. Pink Lady appeared at summer picnics and holiday meals. It required no baking, no heating, just mixing and refrigeration. Convenience was part of the appeal. A housewife could make this in 10 minutes. The pink color was not accidental. The dessert was supposed to look artificial. Natural colors suggested old-fashioned home cooking. Artificial colors suggested modernity, science, progress. The dessert disappeared when artificial colors became associated with chemicals and health concerns rather than with sophistication. Number 22. Grasshopper pie. A chocolate cookie crust filled with a mixture of cream, crème de menthe liqueur, and crème de cacao, frozen until firm. The pie was bright green from the mint liqueur. The color was the point. Grasshopper pie was an adult dessert containing alcohol and looking like nothing nature produced. A package of chocolate cookies for the crust cost 49 cents. The liqueurs were expensive, about $4 per bottle, but one bottle lasted through many pies. Heavy cream was 69 cents per pint. The pie cost about $3 to make and served 8 people. Grasshopper pie was served at dinner parties, sliced thin because it was rich, and because smaller slices made the expensive ingredients go further. The pie disappeared when cream-based frozen desserts went out of fashion, and when the bright green color became less appealing than it had been. Modern versions sometimes skip the liqueur and use mint extract, which eliminates the alcohol, but also eliminates the authentic flavor. The original version, with real crème de menthe, tasted like frozen adult mint, sophisticated and strong. The modern version tastes like toothpaste. Number 21. Watergate salad. Pistachio instant pudding mixed with crushed pineapple, miniature marshmallows, and Cool Whip. The mixture was bright green, and it was called a salad, even though it was clearly a dessert. The name referenced the Watergate scandal. The dessert appeared in 1975, right after the scandal broke. No one is certain why it was named after a political crisis. The name stuck. Pistachio pudding cost 33 cents. The other ingredients added about 80 cents. The salad cost about $1.20 and served 8 people. Watergate salad was everywhere in the mid to late 1970s. It appeared at every potluck, every holiday meal, every family gathering. Then it vanished. Not gradually, suddenly. By the early 1980s, Watergate salad was a joke. The bright green color, the marshmallows, the Cool Whip, all of it became embarrassing. The dessert that had been ubiquitous became obsolete almost overnight. The shift was cultural. The aesthetic that made artificial colors and convenience ingredients appealing was replaced by an aesthetic that valued natural colors and from-scratch cooking. Number 20. Ambrosia. Fresh oranges, sectioned, canned pineapple chunks, maraschino cherries, miniature marshmallows, shredded coconut, and sour cream or whipped cream, mixed together and chilled. Ambrosia, meaning food of the gods, was standard at holiday meals and summer gatherings. The ingredients cost about $1.50 and served 10 people. The mixture was sweet, tangy, and textured. The oranges provided acid. The marshmallows provided sweetness. The coconut provided crunch. The cream bound everything together. Ambrosia appeared on American tables for decades before the 1960s, but the 60s version added Cool Whip and removed some of the labor. Original Ambrosia required hand-sectioning oranges, which was time-consuming. The 60s version sometimes used canned mandarin oranges, which eliminated the labor. Ambrosia declined, but never fully disappeared. It still appears at some holiday tables, particularly in the South. But it lost the universality it had in the 60s when it appeared at nearly every gathering. Number 19. Pineapple upside-down cake. This was not invented in the 1960s, but it peaked then. A layer of pineapple rings and maraschino cherries was arranged in a cake pan with brown sugar and butter. Yellow cake batter was poured over the fruit. After baking, the cake was inverted, so the caramelized fruit became the top. A can of pineapple rings cost 29 cents. The cake mix was 33 cents. The entire cake cost about 75 cents and served 8 people. Pineapple upside-down cake was popular because it looked impressive, but used convenience ingredients. The boxed cake mix eliminated the uncertainty of scratch caking. The canned pineapple ensured consistent results. The visual impact, the glossy caramelized fruit, made it perfect for company. The cake declined when bundt cakes and layer cakes replaced single-layer cakes as the standard for impressive desserts. Pineapple upside down. Cake seemed too simple, too unsophisticated. But the simplicity was the genius. The cake delivered maximum visual impact with minimum skill required. Number 18. Tomato soup cake. This sounds like a joke. It was not. Condensed tomato soup was mixed into spice cake batter. The soup provided moisture and a subtle savory depth that balanced the sweetness. The tomato flavor was not obvious in the finished cake. The cake tasted like spice cake, but richer and more complex. A can of Campbell's tomato soup cost 12 cents. The other ingredients, flour, sugar, and spices, added about 40 cents. The cake cost about 60 cents and served 8 people. Tomato soup cake appeared in community cookbooks and on the back of Campbell's soup cans. It was popular during the Depression as a way to make cake without expensive ingredients like butter and eggs. The cake persisted into the 60s because it worked. The soup created a moist, tender crumb that stayed fresh for days. The cake disappeared when the idea of putting soup in cake became unappetizing, regardless of how it tasted. The name killed it. Calling it spice cake with tomato soup made it sound wrong, even though the result was good. Number 17. Lemon Jell-O. Salad with cabbage. Lemon Jell-O was mixed with shredded cabbage, crushed pineapple, and sometimes carrots. The mixture was chilled in a mold. The result was served as a salad, even though it was sweet. The concept of sweet salads as part of the main meal was normal in the 60s. Vegetables suspended in sweetened gelatin were considered refreshing and appropriate, alongside ham or chicken. Lemon Jell-O cost 8 cents. A small head of cabbage was 12 cents. The salad cost about 35 cents and served 8 people. Lemon Jell-O salad appeared at every potluck and holiday meal. It was not questioned. The combination of sweet gelatin and raw vegetables was accepted as normal. The salad disappeared when the definition of salad shifted. By the 1980s, salad meant lettuce and vegetables with dressing. Sweet gelatin desserts were no longer called salads, even when they contained vegetables. The rename killed the category. Once sweet Jell-O with vegetables was called dessert instead of salad, people stopped making it because dessert with cabbage sounded wrong. Number 16. Baked Alaska. Ice cream on cake, covered with meringue, and baked briefly at very high heat. The meringue browned and set while the ice cream inside stayed frozen. The dessert was impressive, dramatic, and it actually worked through legitimate science. Meringue is an excellent insulator. The air bubbles in beaten egg whites slow heat transfer. The brief time in a very hot oven, usually 500 degrees for 3 to 4 minutes, was enough to brown the meringue, but not enough to penetrate to the ice cream. A box of ice cream cost 89 cents. The cake was homemade or store-bought. The meringue required 6 egg whites and sugar. The dessert cost about $2.50 and served 8 people. Baked Alaska was a restaurant dessert that transferred to home cooking in the 60s when home freezers became standard. The dessert declined when the dramatic presentation seemed too theatrical for home meals, and when the technique seemed too risky. The fear was that the ice cream would melt, which rarely happened if the method was followed correctly. The dessert is being rediscovered by home cooks who realize the science actually works. Number 15. Poke cake. A cake was baked, then poked all over with a wooden spoon handle while still warm. Flavored Jell-O in liquid form was poured over the holes. The Jell-O soaked into the holes and created colorful pockets throughout the cake. After the Jell-O set, the cake was frosted with Cool Whip. The result was cake with bright-colored spots, visible when sliced. A cake mix cost 33 cents. Jell-O cost 8 cents. Cool Whip cost 49 cents. The cake cost about $1 and served 12 people. Poke cake was popular because it looked complicated, but was actually simple. The technique required no skill beyond poking holes. The visual result, the colorful interior, made it perfect for parties. Poke cake declined when the combination of artificial colors and Cool Whip became less appealing. The aesthetic that made the bright colors desirable shifted to an aesthetic that valued natural appearance. The cake tasted fine. The appearance became embarrassing. Number 14. Strawberry pretzel salad. This was not salad, it was a dessert with 3 distinct layers. The bottom layer was crushed pretzels mixed with butter and sugar, baked into a crust. The middle layer was cream cheese, sugar, and Cool Whip. The top layer was strawberry Jell-O with frozen strawberries. Each layer had to set before the next layer was added. The pretzel crust provided salt and crunch. The cream cheese layer provided richness. The strawberry layer provided fruit and sweetness. A bag of pretzels cost 49 cents. Cream cheese was 39 cents. Strawberries and Jell-O added about $1. The dessert cost about $2.25 and served 12 people. Strawberry pretzel salad appeared in the late 60s and persisted into the present, making it one of the few Jell-O desserts that survived the 80s. It survived because the combination of salty, sweet, creamy, and fruity actually worked. The pretzel crust was an innovation. The salt balanced the sweetness in a way that a straight cake crust did not. The dessert is still made, particularly in the Midwest, at potlucks and holidays. First pattern break. Here is what happened to gelatin between 1960 and 1980. In 1960, gelatin was modern, scientific, sophisticated. Jell-O salads appeared at fancy restaurants. Molded gelatin centerpieces were dinner party statements. The shimmering, wobbling, translucent desserts represented space-age food science. Gelatin could do things traditional desserts could not. It could be molded into shapes. It could suspend ingredients in perfect arrangement. It could be layered in colors. It could be made quickly with minimal equipment. The convenience and the visual possibilities made gelatin the default dessert medium. Then something shifted. The shift was not about taste. Jell-O still tasted the same. The shift was aesthetic and cultural. By the mid-1970s, gelatin desserts started looking dated instead of modern. The artificial colors that had seemed space-age started seeming chemical. The convenience that had seemed sophisticated started seeming lazy. The molded shapes that had seemed elegant started seeming silly. The wobble that had seemed playful started seeming grotesque. Nothing about the food changed. The culture changed. The generation that had embraced Jell-O as modern raised children who saw Jell-O as embarrassing. The rejection was total. By 1985, serving a molded Jell-O salad at a dinner party was a statement that you were behind the times, out of touch, and not sophisticated. The desserts that had been universal became a joke. The shift was so complete that many people born after 1975 do not believe that Jell-O desserts were ever taken seriously. They assume the recipes were satire or punishment food. They were neither. They were genuinely popular, genuinely served at elegant occasions, and genuinely appreciated. The photographs that look absurd now looked aspirational then. The cultural reversal was absolute and happened within one generation. Number 13. Chiffon cake. This was the cake that required a specific pan and a specific technique. Chiffon cake used vegetable oil instead of butter, which created a tender, light crumb. The cake was baked in a tube pan and inverted to cool. The inversion was essential. Cooling upside down prevented the delicate structure from collapsing. Vegetable oil cost 69 cents. Eggs were 49 cents per dozen. Cake flour was 39 cents. The cake cost about $1.50 and served 10 people. Chiffon cake was popular in the 60s because it was lighter than butter cakes and stayed moist longer. The oil distributed more evenly than butter, which created superior texture. The cake declined when bundt cakes became fashionable, and tube pans became associated with old-fashioned baking. The specialized pan became a barrier. New bakers did not own tube pans, and they did not want to buy single-purpose equipment. The cake that required specific equipment became obsolete when the equipment became unfashionable. Number 12. $1,000,000 pie. No bake, budget luxury. Sweetened condensed milk, crushed pineapple, lemon juice, chopped pecans, and Cool Whip were mixed together and poured into a graham cracker crust. The mixture set in the refrigerator. The name suggested extravagance, but the ingredients were cheap. Condensed milk cost 43 cents. Crushed pineapple was 19 cents. Cool Whip was 49 cents. Pecans were the expensive ingredient at about $1 per cup. The pie cost about $2.50 and served 8 people. $1,000,000 pie was called that because it tasted expensive even though it was not. The condensed milk provided richness. The lemon juice provided acid, which prevented cloying sweetness. The pecans provided texture. The pie was perfect for summer because it required no oven. The pie still appears occasionally, particularly in the South, but it lost the universality it had in the 60s. Number 11. Orange Dream Dessert. Orange Jell-O was dissolved in hot water. Then cold orange juice was added instead of cold water. Before the mixture fully set, vanilla ice cream was folded in. The result was creamy, orange-flavored, and light. The ice cream created air bubbles that made the dessert fluffy rather than firm. Orange Jell-O cost 8 cents. Orange juice was 39 cents. Ice cream was 89 cents. The dessert cost about $1.50 and served 8 people. Orange Dream Dessert was popular because it combined fruit flavor with creamy texture. The ice cream edition transformed plain Jell-O into something more substantial. The dessert disappeared when Jell-O desserts generally became obsolete. The technique was sound. The flavor was good. The association with old-fashioned Jell-O killed it. Number 10. Sock It To Me cake. This was a yellow cake with a cinnamon sugar swirl in the middle and a sticky glaze on top. The name came from a catchphrase on the television show, Laugh In. The cake became popular in the late 60s and early 70s as a pop culture reference. A cake mix cost 33 cents. The cinnamon filling added about 20 cents. The glaze required powdered sugar and butter, about 30 cents more. The cake cost about 90 cents and served 12 people. Sock It To Me cake was popular because it looked like a complicated coffee cake, but used a boxed mix as the base. The swirl created visual interest. The glaze made it look homemade. The cake declined when the television reference was forgotten, and when the name seemed dated. Recipes that depend on pop culture references have limited lifespans. Once the reference is forgotten, the recipe name becomes meaningless. Sock It To Me cake survived longer than it should have because the cake itself was good. But eventually, the dated name killed it. Number 9. Ribbon gelatin dessert. This required patience and precision. 5 different colors of Jell-O were made sequentially. Each layer had to set completely before the next layer was poured. Between some layers, a white layer of unflavored gelatin mixed with evaporated milk was added. The result was alternating stripes of colored jello and white gelatin. A properly made ribbon dessert had 9 or more layers. 5 boxes of jello cost 40 cents. Unflavored gelatin cost 20 cents. Evaporated milk was 19 cents. The dessert cost about 90 cents and served 12 people. The labor was significant. Each layer took 2 to 3 hours to set. A 9-layer dessert required 18 to 24 hours of total setting time. The dessert had to be started the day before serving. Ribbon gelatin appeared at holiday meals and special occasions. It demonstrated that the cook was willing to invest time. The visual result, the clean stripes, justified the effort. The dessert disappeared when the time investment stopped being valued, and when the Jell-O aesthetic became obsolete. Modern cooks want desserts that take 30 minutes, not 24 hours. Number 8. Black bottom pie. Black bottom pie is a layered home restaurant dessert. It has a dark chocolate custard layer on a cookie crust, then a rum-flavored Bavarian cream layer, and finally a layer of whipped cream. The pie had to be assembled in stages and chilled between stages. The black bottom refers to the dark chocolate layer at the base. A package of chocolate wafers for the crust cost 49 cents. The custard required eggs, sugar, and chocolate. The Bavarian cream required gelatin, more eggs, and rum flavoring. The whipped cream required heavy cream. The pie cost about $3 and served 8 people. Black bottom pie was a restaurant-quality dessert made at home. The complexity demonstrated skill. The rum flavoring made it an adult dessert, not appropriate for children. The pie declined when multi-layered desserts went out of fashion and when the time required seemed excessive. The pie is being rediscovered now by ambitious home bakers who appreciate the technique involved. Number 7. 7-layer cookies. Also called 7-layer bars or magic bars, these were not shaped like cookies. The cookie was a pan of 7 layers, pressed and baked together. They used a graham cracker crust, butter, chocolate chips, butterscotch chips, coconut, condensed milk, and chopped nuts. Each layer was added sequentially. The condensed milk was poured over everything, and the heat melted the chips and bound the layers. Graham crackers cost 49 cents. Chocolate chips were 59 cents. The other ingredients added about $1.50. The pan cost about $3 and made 24 bars. 7-layer cookies were popular because they required no mixing, no shaping, no skill beyond layering. The bars were sweet, rich, and held together perfectly. They traveled well to potlucks. The bars never disappeared. They persist today, still made using the same recipe from the 1960s. The bars survived because they work. The technique is simple. The result is reliable. The taste is good enough that changing them seemed unnecessary. Number 6. Cool Whip frosted Jell-O cake. A cake was baked, cooled, and poked full of holes. Liquid Jell-O was poured into the holes. After the Jell-O set, Cool Whip was spread over the top as frosting. The technique was similar to a poke cake, but the topping was just Cool Whip, not mixed with Jell-O. A cake mix cost 33 cents. Jell-O was 8 cents. Cool Whip was 49 cents. The cake cost about 90 cents and served 12 people. The cake was popular because it was simple and colorful. The Cool Whip frosting did not require making buttercream or dealing with finicky frosting techniques. The cake stayed moist because the Jell-O added moisture. The cake disappeared when Cool Whip frosting became unacceptable. Real frosting meant buttercream or cream cheese frosting, not whipped topping from a tub. The standard for acceptable frosting changed, and Cool Whip failed to meet it. Number 5. Banana split cake. A graham cracker crust is topped with a mixture of butter, powdered sugar, and eggs, beaten until fluffy, followed by sliced bananas, crushed pineapple, Cool Whip, chopped nuts, and maraschino cherries. The dessert was assembled in a 9x13 pan and chilled. The name referenced banana splits because it contained similar components. Graham crackers cost 49 cents. The butter and sugar layer added about 75 cents. The fruit and Cool Whip added about $1.25. The dessert cost about $3 and served 15 people. Banana split cake was popular at potlucks because it fed a crowd and required no bake preparation. The layers created visual interest when served. The dessert still appears occasionally, particularly in the Midwest, but lost the ubiquity it had in the 60s and 70s. Number 4. Hummingbird cake, a Southern favorite that endured. It became national in the late 60s. It is a banana cake with crushed pineapple, pecans, and cinnamon, frosted with cream cheese frosting. The cake was moist and dense. The name came from the idea that the cake was sweet enough to attract hummingbirds. In the 60s, bananas cost 12 cents per pound. Crushed pineapple was 19 cents. Pecans were expensive. Cream cheese cost 39 cents. The cake cost about $3 and served 12 people. Hummingbird cake persisted better than most 60s desserts because the flavors were complex, and the cream cheese frosting became increasingly popular. The cake never disappeared, but it became regional rather than national. It remained popular in the South while becoming rare elsewhere. Number 3. Better than sex cake. It was a chocolate cake with holes poked all the way through, sweetened condensed milk poured over it, a layer of caramel topping, a layer of Cool Whip, and finally crushed Heath bars or toffee bits. The name was provocative and memorable. A cake mix cost 33 cents. Condensed milk was 43 cents. Caramel topping was 59 cents. Cool Whip was 49 cents. Heath bars were 65 cents. The cake cost about $3 and served 15 people. Better Than Sex cake appeared in the late 1960s and persisted through the 1980s. The name ensured it was remembered. The combination of chocolate, caramel, and toffee was legitimately good. The cake declined when the Cool Whip topping fell out of favor, and when the provocative name began to feel dated rather than funny. Now the recipe is being revived under different names that remove the sexual reference. Poke caramel chocolate cake is the same recipe with a more acceptable name. Number 2. Dirt cake. It is a dessert designed to look like dirt in a flower pot. Chocolate pudding mixed with Cool Whip is layered with crushed Oreos to resemble dirt, and sometimes gummy worms are added. These were often served in unused flower pots, with fake flowers added for decoration. An Oreo package cost 59 cents, instant pudding 33 cents, Cool Whip 49 cents, and the flower pot about $2. Together they totaled $4, and the recipe served 8 people. Dirt cake appeared in the late 60s and early 70s as a children's party dessert. The visual gag appealed to kids. It declined when the novelty faded and when parents began to reject desserts that required minimal cooking. Cool Whip's cultural significance. Launched in 1997, Cool Whip was a frozen whipped topping that required only thawing, a truly revolutionary convenience. Making whipped cream took time, a mixer, and skill. Cool Whip was oil, water, corn syrup, and chemicals whipped into a stabilized foam. It looked and behaved like whipped cream, but it was dramatically easier. Within 2 years, Cool Whip appeared in half of women's magazine dessert recipes, enabling no-bake desserts that dominated the 70s. By the mid-80s, backlash began. Cool Whip represented everything wrong with convenience food, chemicals pretending to be cream. Using it marked you as lazy, unwilling to whip real cream. It became a class marker. Working-class desserts used Cool Whip, while middle-class desserts used real cream. Though the product persisted because it worked, cultural judgment remained. Once Cool Whip became culturally unacceptable, desserts that required it disappeared too. Number 1. Jell-O poke cake with condensed milk. At the top of this list is the dessert that combined all the major trends. A white or yellow cake was baked, then poked full of holes while still hot. Sweetened condensed milk was poured over, soaking into the holes. Then liquid Jell-O was poured over, also soaking into the holes. The cake cooled with both liquids absorbed. Then Cool Whip frosting was spread on top. The result was cake that was impossibly moist, sweet, and colorful. The condensed milk should not have mixed successfully with Jell-O. Dairy and gelatin together can create separation and unpleasant texture, but the hot cake absorbed both before they could interact. The technique worked through chemistry that home cooks did not understand but could execute. A cake mix cost 33 cents. Condensed milk was 43 cents. Jell-O was 8 cents. Cool Whip was 49 cents. The cake cost about $1.40 and served 12 people. Jell-O poke cake with condensed milk appeared at every potluck, birthday party, and church social through the late 60s and 70s. The cake was universally loved. Then it vanished. Not gradually, suddenly. By the mid-80s, the cake was gone. The combination of artificial colors, Cool Whip, and the concentrated sweetness of condensed milk became unacceptable. The aesthetic that had made the cake appealing was replaced by an aesthetic that valued natural ingredients and from-scratch effort. The cake that had been everywhere disappeared completely. The recipe still exists in community cookbooks and on index cards in elderly women's recipe boxes, but it is not made. The cake is being rediscovered now by people who find the old recipes and realize that despite the bizarre ingredient list, the cake actually tastes good. The moistness from the condensed milk is real. The flavor from the Jell-O is subtle but effective. The Cool Whip, while not real whipped cream, provides light contrast to the dense cake. The cake works. It worked in 1968, and it works now. What changed was not the cake. What changed was whether we were willing to admit that convenience ingredients could produce good results. Here is the challenge. Make one dessert from this list. Not ironically, not as a joke. Make it sincerely, following the recipe exactly, and serve it to people without explaining that it is a 1960s recipe. Then watch whether people like it. Because these desserts did not disappear because they tasted bad. They disappeared because the aesthetic changed, and because using convenience ingredients became embarrassing. But embarrassment about ingredients does not change whether something tastes good. Strawberry pretzel salad still tastes good. 7-layer cookies still taste good. Better than sex cake still tastes good. The recipes work. We just stopped making them because the cultural moment that created them ended. Tell us in the comments which dessert you made. I want to know if anyone serves crown jewel dessert at a dinner party, and whether guests ask for the recipe or politely decline seconds, because these desserts are not quaint historical curiosities. They are evidence that good cooking can come from unexpected combinations, and that the line between sophisticated and silly is drawn by culture, not by taste. The 1960s drew that line in one place. We draw it somewhere else. But the desserts themselves have not changed. Only our willingness to take them seriously has changed, and maybe that is worth reconsidering.